All right. We're together again. Last time Pops came at you by himself, talking to you about the empty chair, which is a good tool for resolution and cleaning out, if you will. Uh, I've used that myself in practices with clients in my career over the years, and I find it to be very beneficial. Again, I'm talking to you about journaling as a means of maintaining good outlook and positive mental health state and keeping your mind right in terms of like what happens to you on a day-to-day basis and how you feel about it and how you process it, how it impacts you and how you impact others perhaps. Um, that being said, one of the things I wanted to talk about was empathy and how empathy seems to be sort of a currency these days, especially on social media outlets. You see a lot of people, taking selfies while they're helping somebody with something. And while I'm not 1,000% opposed to that, I'm also not in favor of it necessarily as a common practice. But I will tell you this: my sons and I hit the road last weekend, and while we were out, we met a young lady who was struggling. And how she was struggling, I can't tell you because I don't know exactly, but there was obviously some issues going on. And so her primary objective, it seemed, would be to sell art out of her backpack. Drawings that she had made on various pieces of paper in various formats and so on and so forth. And she just seemed out of sorts and also down on her luck. And one of the employees at one of the establishments where we were was seemed to be kind of looking out for her, but ultimately she didn't have anybody to look out for her. So I made sure, and my sons made sure also, to be present and attentive to her for as long as we could while we gave her a handful of money, just because I wanted to make sure she was good for the day. And it's not about giving her money, it's about recognizing her humanity and recognizing her need, recognizing her struggle, and so on. And I think that in this current socio-political climate, sometimes that gets lost. We need to realize that each other are each other. We the only people that are taking care of each other are those people that take an active role in doing so. So make sure that you're putting yourself out there as a positive force in the universe, whatever that means to you. And then it gives you something to write about, right?
Right. Well, this falls right into what I have to say about it. I have a poem I wrote called The Joy of Life, and it's based on a photograph that I have in my study area. And it shows me with a group of people, and we're all friends, and we're getting along and just having a heck of a good time. And you probably have photographs like that in your home, around you. And the joy of life. And when I look at that, that's what came to mind. Well, I've had that photograph there for 30 years. I've had it there. Until now, I wanted to write about it. Not until now did I want to write about it. And the joy of life. And what I learned through the years of doing what Jay says, being aware of my life, making friends, doing all those things, strengthening myself, and especially using my dreams and journaling, I found 5 things that are important to me in regard to my joy of life. 1, believe in myself. And that takes time. It's not an instant thing. You got to work at it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what journaling is, and that's what dreams do for you. Think of yourself. You got yourself. Friends. Take joy in your friends. Establish good friendships. You've got people around you that love you and that you love. Well, develop those and encourage those. And then there's the spirituality of the universe. The universe is a magnificent, wonderful place. Think of that. Communicate with that. Be aware of that.
Right.
Be part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last two are kind of bind. I say, be part of your world and your place in it. And your world would be your family, your work, your community, all the things that you're involved in. There they all are. And your place in it. And if you can work on those things with your life effort,
Mm-hmm.
you can be successful, just like Jay's saying. You know, you take part in all of this. And it really makes a big difference. And in my opinion, of course, dreams are a big part of it because, you know, your mind helps you all day long, everything you do. And then at night when you're sleeping, it says, hey, how about that little problem you're having with your sister that you haven't talked to in 5 years? What about that little problem you have with your coworker over there and she and you aren't getting along? What's going on there? Why don't you work on that?
Mm-hmm.
That sort of thing. That's what dreams do. And I want to let Jay talk about some journaling because I want to say a few more things, but I don't wear us all out. But, you know, get involved in your life. Take part. Grab hold of it and enjoy it and live it.
Yeah, absolutely. Part of the reason I told you the story about me and the boys hitting the road is because I think that that's a necessary thing. And you don't have to go to the ends of the earth. You don't have to leave the country. You don't have to do any of that, but you might want to leave your city. You might want to leave your neighborhood. You might want to have an adventure. And I think that's all part of being involved in it. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, and I'm not trying to tell you to be dissatisfied with where you're at. But taking a more persistently active role in your day to day is, I think, what ultimately we should strive for. Because I hear it all the time in my work. I don't fit in anywhere. I feel like I don't belong anywhere. I feel like I don't have a place. Well, that's fair to say. It's unfortunate, but I think what people forget is ultimately what they need to do is forge their spot, to create it, to develop it, to put themselves into places where they can find like-minded people, people that share the same interests. That's one of the reasons I like public libraries and coffee shops and diners. Greasy Spoon diners are my favorite, simply because there's people in there that you never see. And what do? What can you do? You can talk to them. And I think that that's part of what makes journaling so valuable to me is I can turn it into art, if you will. But it also is a journal. It also is the processing of information that happens to me, or input, sensory input, mental input, whatever. Um, and there you have it. So that's my keeping of a journal helps me mentally, but it also is a record of my adventures. We'll say that.
Okay. You see, now there you go. The journaling and all of that. Journaling is you talking to you with a notebook or something that you're using, and you're by yourself. Only you know. You don't have to show this journal to anybody.
No.
The same thing with dreams. You don't have to tell anybody what you're doing. You could tell them, oh, hey, I've found this new interest in dreams and I like it. And I'm using it. And if they go, well, what happens then? You can explain the basics of what you may want them to know if they're going to use it. But you do it by yourself. You don't have to do it in front of anybody. So you do it by yourself. I was at a bookstore the other day and I always mention this dream business I'm interested in. And 2 or 3 people were there and they all scoffed and said, oh, I have a dream about, well, there's a waterfall and my dad was saying and so forth. And I said, well, come on, we'll figure it out. Oh, no, I could never do that. A woman there said, oh, I don't want to know what my dreams are about. Oh, I don't want to. Come on, folks. Your dreams are you helping you.
Right.
You helping you. Just like journaling is. Journaling is you helping you.
Right.
And you don't have to show it to anybody.
Nope.
So don't worry about that part. Don't worry. You don't have to explain anything to anybody, tell them anything. Just do it and learn. And like I did through the years, it's taken me effort, but it was an effort I wanted to make
Right.
to get my life together. And and I'm not a rich man, but I'm a satisfied man. I lived a healthy life, and I had friends, and I have nothing to complain about.
Right. Ultimately, that's what we're both looking for. I think both of us, and we're trying to encourage you to do the same. We found a measure of satisfaction. We found a measure of completeness. Pops has some years on me. Obviously, he's my dad, and I'm hurtling towards middle age for sure. And what's happening is I have to decide whether I've done enough or whether I'm doing enough. And frankly, I don't think that that's a decision that you get to make. I think it just sort of happens. And what you need to do is find the satisfaction with what you are doing. The journaling is, for me, a means to an end because like I've said last time or a couple of times before, I use it to make art, poetry, and storytelling stuff and all that. But like Pop says, you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to do any of that. That's one of the things that I try and talk to artists that I know about their art. Is the first person that you're creating it for is you. If you're creating it for your audience, any audience, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And it's going to show that. It's going to reflect that. It's going to reflect that you're not putting enough of you into you. You're not investing in yourself enough if you're doing this for somebody else. So ultimately, whatever path you choose, or both paths, dreams, journaling, all of it, it's yours first and foremost, as much as it's ours. That's why we're putting it out there so that we know that you know that we know that you know. Right?
All right.
All right. We'll talk to you next time.